Ever wonder why some games just refuse to age, no matter how many consoles come and go? Today we're diving into 20 timeless video games that still hold up in 2025. Not because they're old, but because they're still ridiculously good. Let's jump in and see which classics are still running laps around modern releases. You ever play a game that doesn't just pull you in, but drops you headfirst into another time, another life? That's Red Dead Redemption for me. It's not just a Western, it's an experience that lives and breathes in every dusty trail, broken fence post, and sunset over the mountains. You step into the worn boots of John Marston, a former outlaw trying to outrun his past. But trust me, this world doesn't make redemption easy. What hits hard isn't just the shootouts or horseback chases, though those feel amazing. It's how alive everything feels. The wind through the plains, the tension in a quiet saloon, the sudden chaos of a bounty gone wrong. Every town, every stranger, every choice feels like it matters. The story grips you, but it's the way it unfolds, slow-burning, raw, and full of heart, that really stays with you. Whether you're hunting down old gang members or just watching the sky change colors over the hills, there's this constant feeling that you're part of something way bigger than a game. It's gritty, it's beautiful, and honestly, it still holds up as one of the most unforgettable journeys gaming has ever given us.
Let's go. I'll take you back to your room.
Whoa!
And here's the corral.
You know those games that hit different the moment you boot them up? Like they just get what makes gaming great? Half-Life 2 is one of those rare gems. It drops you into this bleak, oppressive world where every corner feels like it's watching you, and yet you can't stop exploring. You play as Gordon Freeman, a silent guy with a crowbar, and a serious knack for surviving the impossible. And what makes it special isn't just the action, though, trust me, the combat's tight. It's how the world reacts to you, how it feels so real, even without saying much. The physics are crazy fun too, like tossing saw blades with the gravity gun, or solving puzzles that actually make you stop and think. And the pacing? Smooth as butter. 1 minute you're dodging bullets in a crumbling building. The next you're cruising down a canal on a hoverboat, all without a single loading screen breaking the vibe. It's one of those games that manages to feel both old school and ahead of its time, and honestly, even after all these years, it still holds up like a champ. If you've never played it, or it's been a while, this is one of those you owe it to yourself to experience again. There's just something about Mass Effect 2 that grabs you from the start and doesn't let go. It's like stepping into a full-blown sci-fi epic where every decision feels personal and the stakes keep getting higher. You're back in the boots of Commander Shepard, trying to hold the galaxy together with a ragtag squad of unforgettable characters. And let me tell you, building those relationships is half the fun. The combat's sharp and way more refined than the first game, with tight shooting and powers that actually feel satisfying to use. Pulling enemies into the air or blasting them with biotics never gets old. But what really makes it special is how your choices matter, like really matter, and how the whole game leans into that feeling of assembling a team for a mission you might not come back from. The atmosphere, the music, the dialogue, it all hits just right, and every playthrough feels like your own version of the story. Whether you're a fan of space adventures or just love games that treat your choices with real weight, this one's an absolute must-play, and still feels just as powerful today as it did back then. You ever play a game that instantly makes you forget where you are because the world just pulls you in that hard? That's exactly what happened to me with Bioshock. From the second you crash into the ocean and descend into that eerie underwater city, it's like stepping into a living nightmare wrapped in beauty. The place is falling apart, the people have lost their minds, and every hallway feels like something could jump out at you, but you can't stop exploring. The way you mix up powers, like tossing lightning or freezing enemies with old-school weapons, keeps every fight fresh and fun. But honestly, it's the atmosphere that steals the show. The sound design is unsettling in the best way, creaking pipes, distant whispers, and that weird feeling that you're never really alone. What really stuck with me, though, was how the game messes with your expectations, slowly peeling back layers of the story until you're not even sure who to trust. It's dark, it's smart, and it's unlike anything else out there. If you've never played it, or it's been a while, trust me, Bioshock is still one of those unforgettable experiences that hits just as hard today as it did the first time. You ever jump into a game just to mess around for a few minutes, and then suddenly it's 3 a.m., and you've accidentally built a castle, tamed a wolf, and fought off a horde of skeletons? That's Minecraft for you. It sneaks up on you in the best way. There's something seriously addictive about how simple it starts. Just you and a blocky world full of trees, caves, and the unknown. But the deeper you go, the more it opens up. You're mining, crafting, building, surviving, it's all on your terms. 1 minute you're farming carrots in your cozy little base. The next you're diving into a lava-filled ravine or gearing up to face something terrifying in the dark. What I love most is that it never tells you what to do. It just quietly hands you a world and says, go for it. Whether you're creating redstone contraptions or exploring ancient ruins or just vibing to the soundtrack while building something random, there's always that feeling of total freedom. It's creative, it's chaotic, it's peaceful, and somehow all at once. No matter your playstyle, Minecraft always finds a way to pull you in and make every session feel totally your own. You ever load into a game just to do one quest and suddenly you're hunting dragons, stealing sweet rolls, and getting lost in a cave you didn't even mean to enter? That's Skyrim in a nutshell. It's one of those rare games where you set out with a plan and the world just pulls you in 100 different directions in the best way possible. Whether you're sneaking through ancient tombs, yelling enemies off cliffs with your voice, or just picking flowers while a giant walks by like it owns the place, there's always something unexpected around the corner. The freedom is unreal. You can be a hero, a thief, a mage, a werewolf, or some chaotic combo of all of them, and the world just reacts to whatever kind of story you want to tell. The music, the landscapes, the way the snow crunches under your boots up in the mountains, it all makes you feel like you're really there, living it. Even after all these years, it still has that magic where you hop in for 5 minutes and suddenly realize it's been hours. If you've never played it, you're in for a wild ride. And if you have, you already know Skyrim never really lets you go. You know that feeling when a game just completely takes over your childhood or your whole summer? That's exactly what Grand Theft Auto San Andreas did for me. It wasn't just about missions or driving around causing chaos. It was this wild, open world packed with style, attitude, and freedom you didn't see in games back then. You step into the shoes of CJ, and suddenly you're bouncing between city life, desert roads, and country back roads, doing everything from bike races to skydiving to sneaking into military bases just because you can. What really sticks with you is how alive it all feels, radio stations blaring wild tracks, characters that actually feel like they belong in that world, and so many weird random moments that you almost forget there's a story going on. And yeah, the story itself? Surprisingly deep, with twists and turns and tons of personality. But even if you ignored that completely, there was just so much to do, so many ways to mess around or try something new every time you played. It's the kind of game that made you feel like you were discovering something new every time you picked up the controller. And honestly, even today, it's still one of the most fun, chaotic, and unforgettable worlds gaming has ever dropped us into.
catching me, asshole?
You ever play a game that keeps your heart racing even when nothing's happening? That's Resident Evil 4 for me. It's got this perfect mix of tension, action, and weird, creepy atmosphere that somehow never gets old. You're dropped into this isolated, foggy village where everything feels off. And from the minute you take control, it's like the game's constantly throwing you curveballs. The over-the-shoulder aiming makes every shot feel intense, especially when you're getting swarmed by these creepy, not-quite zombies that charge at you like they've got nothing to lose. What really makes it stand out, though, is how the pacing just nails it. You'll be managing ammo 1 second, fighting off a boss the next, and then solving some eerie puzzle in a castle that looks straight out of a nightmare. And even when you think you've seen it all, it just keeps escalating in the wildest ways. There's this constant feeling of being in danger, but also this weird excitement because the game rewards you for staying sharp. Whether it's your first time playing or your 10th, there's something timeless about the way Resident Evil 4 keeps pulling you in, making you second guess every hallway, every corner, and every creepy sound in the distance. You ever play a game that makes you feel like a genius 1 second and totally lost the next in the best possible way? That's Portal 2, hands down. It's this brilliant mix of puzzle solving and dark humor set inside a massive, crumbling science lab, where the only way forward is to think your way through rooms using, you guessed it, portals. You're not out here shooting enemies or grinding XP. You're using your brain to figure out how to launch yourself across gaps, bounce off gel-covered surfaces, or redirect lasers through portals you place wherever they'll work. It's honestly one of those games where every little aha moment feels super satisfying, like cracking a code with style. And the best part is the game never feels like it's talking down to you. It's more like it's challenging you to keep up, throwing wild ideas your way, just to see how you'll handle them. The story sneaks up on you too, with characters that are hilarious, unsettling, and weirdly unforgettable. It's clever without being confusing, funny without trying too hard, and every room feels like a tiny playground made just for you to figure out. If you've never played it, trust me, Portal 2 is one of those experiences that sticks with you long after the credits roll. You ever get so locked into a game that everything else just fades away and it's just you, the screen, and pure focus? That's what happens every time I play Tetris. It's so simple on the surface, just a bunch of shapes falling from the top, but the second it starts speeding up, your brain kicks into overdrive in the best way. There's this weird magic to how it feels, snapping pieces into place, pulling off that perfect line clear right before the stack gets too high, and somehow holding your breath without realizing it during the faster levels. It doesn't need flashy graphics or some massive story to keep you hooked. It's just pure, satisfying gameplay that hits the same no matter how many times you come back to it. Whether you're casually stacking blocks on a chill day or chasing a high score with sweaty palms, Tetris has that timeless rhythm that never gets old. It's one of those games that anyone can pick up, but mastering it, that's where the real fun begins. Ever play a game that makes sneaking through the jungle feel more intense than a full-blown shootout? That's exactly what Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, pulls off, and it does it with such style that even today, it still hits different. You're dropped into this thick, humid wilderness where every bush, tree, and enemy patrol feels like part of a living, breathing world. And instead of running and gunning, you're carefully crawling, camouflaging, setting traps, and surviving off the land. It's not just about stealth either, or there's this deep survival element where you patch up your wounds, hunt animals for food, and even pick the right camo pattern depending on your surroundings. What really gets you, though, is how it balances all that slow burn strategy with these massive cinematic moments, boss fights that feel unforgettable, and a story that somehow gets more emotional the deeper you go. The tension, the pacing, the atmosphere, it all comes together in a way that makes you feel like you're playing through a Cold War spy thriller instead of just a regular mission. It's got this gritty, grounded vibe, but also leans into the weird and wild like only a Metal Gear game can. And through it all, you're right there with Snake, every step of the way, trying to outsmart the odds in a game that respects your brain as much as your reflexes. You ever jump into a game and feel like you've just been launched straight into a dream? That's exactly what happens the moment you boot up Super Mario Galaxy. It's like this wild, gravity-defying adventure through space that somehow still feels cozy, familiar, and full of heart. Instead of running around flat levels like in the old days, here you're hopping across tiny planets, flying between galaxies, and messing with gravity in ways that make your head spin in the best way. The controls feel tight and responsive, and every level has this creative twist that keeps things fresh. 1 second you're gliding through rings of stars. The next you're upside down, dodging fireballs on a spinning sphere. The soundtrack? Absolutely magical. And the whole game just oozes charm without ever trying too hard. It's one of those experiences that reminds you why platformers are so fun. Because every time you land that perfect jump or pull off some crazy move with the Wii Remote, it just feels awesome. Whether you're a longtime Mario fan or just love a game that constantly surprises you, Super Mario Galaxy is the kind of ride you don't forget. It's joyful, clever, and still feels out of this world even years later.
Okay, let's stop. Let's stop messing with that. Just need a coin. So just as a reminder, the wonderful 101 contest that we have going on right now ends...
You know that feeling when a game absolutely refuses to hold your hand and instead just tosses you into a broken world with a sword and a good luck? That's Dark Souls in a nutshell, and honestly, that's what makes it so addictive. It's not just about being hard, it's about how it makes every little victory feel earned, like you really fought tooth and nail to survive. From the eerie silence of its ruined castles to those tense, heart-pounding boss fights, every moment feels soaked in atmosphere and mystery. The game doesn't spell things out, and that's the beauty of it. You slowly piece together the story through cryptic dialogue, item descriptions, and that sense of dread that never really leaves. The combat is tight and methodical, all about timing and learning patterns, and every enemy, even the basic ones, can wreck you if you're careless. But once it clicks, and you start mastering it, the whole thing becomes this incredibly satisfying rhythm of risk and reward. It's moody, it's unforgiving, and it's absolutely unforgettable. One of those games that challenges not just your reflexes, but your patience, persistence, and curiosity. You ever play a game that feels like you're living inside an action movie, like full-on explosions, collapsing buildings, and wild chase scenes that make your heart race? That's exactly what Uncharted 2 Among Thieves pulls off, and somehow it keeps one-upping itself with every new level. You're right there with Nathan Drake, cracking jokes 1 minute and dodging bullets the next, all while climbing the ancient ruins, sneaking through snowy mountaintops, and figuring out puzzles that make you feel like a treasure hunter for real. The pacing is just unreal. It never drags, always keeps things fresh, and the transitions between cutscenes and gameplay are so seamless, it's like you're steering your own blockbuster film. What really makes it hit, though, is how alive the characters feel, the banter, the tension, the moments where you actually care about what happens next. And the set pieces? Absolutely legendary. You're hanging from trains, running through crumbling cities. It's also cinematic, but still totally in your control. It's the kind of experience that sticks with you, not just for the action, but for how much fun it is from start to finish. You ever look back at a game and realize it basically rewired your brain as a kid? That's what The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time did for so many of us. And the crazy part is, it still holds up all these years later. There's just something magical about riding across Hyrule Field for the first time, solving those clever little dungeon puzzles, or hearing that ocarina tune echo out as you open up new paths and shift between time. The world feels alive in that cozy, adventurous kind of way, like you're part of some ancient myth unraveling step by step. The combat is simple but satisfying, the characters stick with you, and the boss fights, man, they're just the right mix of challenge and spectacle. It's not flashy by today's standards, but there's a charm and depth here that modern games still try to capture. Whether you're revisiting it or playing for the first time, Ocarina of Time isn't just gaming history. It's a timeless journey that still knows how to sweep you off your feet. If you've ever wanted to lose yourself in a world that feels alive in every corner, The Witcher 3. Wild Hunt is that kind of game that grabs you and doesn't let go. And I mean that in the best way possible. You're not just playing as Geralt, you're living his story, navigating this wild, war-torn land full of messy politics, moral gray areas, and monsters that feel like they walked straight out of dark folklore. The side quests? Easily some of the best in gaming. They're not just errands, they're full-blown stories with real choices and consequences. From tracking down beasts with your Witcher senses to getting lost in quiet villages that hold way more than they seem, the game pulls you in with its insane attention to detail and rich writing. And let's not even get started on the combat. Fast, fluid, and just tricky enough to keep you thinking. Whether you're diving into Gwent, chasing down contracts, or getting caught up in tangled personal relationships, this game gives you a fantasy world that actually feels like it matters. Even now, it's the kind of masterpiece that makes you forget how many hours you've sunk into it. And honestly, you won't even care. Or if you've ever wondered what it feels like to play an RPG that somehow still holds up decades later, Chrono Trigger is one of those rare gems that instantly grabs your heart and doesn't let go. And I'm not just saying that for nostalgia's sake. The way this game blends time travel with such a tight, emotional storyline is wild, and every jump through the eras makes the world feel richer and more connected. The combat is snappy and strategic, using that unique turn-based system where timing and positioning actually matter. And don't even get me started on the characters. They're memorable, layered, and each one brings something real to the team. The pixel art still looks gorgeous even today, the music hits you in all the right places, and there's something just so satisfying about watching your choices ripple through time and lead to multiple different endings. It's like this perfect time capsule of what makes classic JRPGs so special, but it still feels modern in the way it plays. If you've never tried it, or it's been sitting on your backlog forever, do yourself a favor and jump in. It's an experience that feels just as magical now as it did the first time. You ever have one of those games that just feels good the second you boot it up? That's exactly what Doom 1993 does. It throws you into chaos from the very first second and never lets up. You're dropped into this gritty, demon-infested sci-fi nightmare with nothing but your instincts and a shotgun, and man, the pacing is just unreal. It's fast, it's brutal, and it's so smooth it almost feels like you're dancing through a battlefield. The levels are like twisted labyrinths filled with secrets, hidden switches, and traps that keep you on your toes. And the sound design, those growls, the doors creaking open, that satisfying boom from your weapon. It's all just pure adrenaline. What's wild is how even after all these years, it still holds up. No tutorials, no hand-holding, just raw gameplay that rewards speed, skill, and exploration. There's a reason so many games tried to copy what Doom pulled off, but nothing really captures that same feeling of pure chaotic fun. Whether you're blasting through with just your fists or unloading with the BFG, Doom is one of those rare classics that doesn't just live in history. It still plays like a legend. You ever play a game that just quietly gets under your skin and stays with you for years? Shadow of the Colossus is one of those rare experiences that doesn't flood you with dialogue or distractions. It just drops you in this massive, hauntingly empty world and asks you to face off against giants one-on-one. And not just any giants. These towering ancient colossi feel like living, breathing puzzles, each one a completely different beast that you've got to figure out on the fly. There's no map full of markers, no cluttered quest log, just you, your horse, and the wind whispering through ruins that seem older than time itself. The gameplay is all about scale, momentum, and precision, climbing. These massive creatures feels tense and desperate, like you're hanging on by a thread, both literally and emotionally. The art style and music hit you right in the soul, especially in those quiet moments between battles, when all you can hear is your horse's hooves and the distant echo of what you just did. It's got this lonely, meditative vibe that somehow makes every victory feel bittersweet, like you're doing something amazing and tragic at the same time. If you're looking for a game that breaks the mold and leaves a real impact, this one's a masterpiece you absolutely have to experience. There's just something about blasting through waves of the undead with your buddies that never gets old, and Left 4 Dead 2 absolutely nails that chaotic, edge-of-your-seat co-op experience. The second you jump in, it throws you into these tense, fast-paced scenarios where you're constantly moving, scavenging, and shouting over the noise as the infected come running from every direction. And trust me, they do not mess around. Each level feels like a mini action horror movie, with dynamic routes, eerie weather, and the kind of panic-inducing surprises that'll have you yelling even when you're laughing. And it's not just mindless shooting, the way you've got to stick together, manage limited resources, and deal with those unique special infected makes every round feel like a tightrope walk between survival and total chaos. Whether you're using a frying pan, a shotgun, or just running for your life, there's never a dull moment, especially when the game ramps up the intensity with those unpredictable hordes. It's the kind of game where no two runs feel the same, and when you've got the right crew, it turns into a perfect mix of mayhem, teamwork, and that sweet, sweet last-second rescue that leaves your heart pounding. If you've never played it or haven't in a while, it's the ultimate zombie-slaying thrill ride you definitely don't want to miss. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you had as much fun revisiting these 20 timeless video games that still hold up in 2025 as I did putting the list together. It's always wild looking back at how some games just never lose their magic, no matter how much time passes. If any of your personal favorites didn't make it in, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing what games stuck with you. And hey, if you enjoyed hanging out for a bit, feel free to hit that like button. Maybe subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy and keep playing what you love.